Hi, how are you?
I'm fine too,
Good.
Amanda.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming on to my show. Can you introduce yourself?
Yes, I can. I'm Alan. I'm 21 years old. I live in Arujá, a city in São Paulo, Brazil. And I'm working. I'm working home office right now. I work as customer service assistant in a freight forwarder. We are responsible for international freights and national ones. And that's my job. But for now, I'm very peaceful with my job because there's nothing to do now.
Oh, I can relate, definitely. I'm sorry to hear that. Uh,
Yeah, but it's mixed part.
so how is your English journey going? Are you struggling at all with learning English?
Yes, for a long time, I think I've been struggling to become fluent in English because I already did some English courses here in Brazil, but they are not too effectively, they are not kind of English course that you really want to do to improve your English. You'll be better to study on their own because I
Uh,
mean our English course like in Brazil is not so good as a
well,
lot of people here think about it. But I'm trying to do my best to study grammar, to study speaking, listen, and writing. But I don't know. I think it's lacking something in my English. I don't know.
yeah, I understand your struggle with the course. Was it like a group class where people are
Yes,
learning English together?
yes, they were, but it's too much Portuguese and it's a little English. It's more you translate it than anything in English courses.
Yeah, you're not really going to get far taking a course like that.
Not so far, unfortunately. I'd like to be
Yeah.
different, but it's the reality of English courses in Brazil.
Yeah, I mean, I've taught in English courses in different countries, and I can definitely say that people that are really serious about learning English tend to not enjoy those classes so much because you can learn so much faster on your own that the class can't really keep up with you, and you're almost like held back to follow a very slow way of learning English. So,
That's true.
yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, there are definitely some exceptions out there, but generally.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yes. And the exceptions are too expensive to pay for.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, usually the really intensive courses are really expensive too. That's true. Yeah.
That's what
So,
I'm trying to do.
so do you have any questions about learning English?
Yes, I have. I made a few questions in that essay. I don't know, questionnaire that you sent to me.
Yeah.
But but yes, I have. How can I? The first one is it will be how can I improve my grammar?
Oh, that's a good question. That really depends. So, there are people that really don't know the grammar rules at all, and there are people that have a strong sense of the grammar rules, but they are not really able to use it so well when they're speaking. Um, so what category do you think that you fall under? Like, are you very familiar with the grammar rules, or you don't really know the grammar rules all that well?
Yes, I know a couple of them, but I don't know how much I know. It
Okay.
depends, I think.
Okay, so I would say to become more familiar with the grammar rules, if you think that's where you're struggling, then I would highly recommend the book Grammar in Use. That is,
Grammar news.
yeah, like it's really easy to order that book. A lot of bookstores hold it. Grammar in Use is by far one of the best grammar books I've ever used. And the example sentences that they use are really like, they're not the I've seen a lot of like English books, like they have these grammar examples and that like you would never use them in real life. Where I didn't see so much of that in Grammar in Use. Like it was very practical, very everyday kind of English. Um, so definitely that. I would not spend too much time learning a bunch of different future tenses because native speakers don't really follow the, grammar rules of future tenses.
Yes.
And even for
Right.
me as a native speaker and an English teacher, they're complicated, you know.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's not the way
Yeah.
you speak, the way native speaks, of course.
Yeah, but definitely you want to have a somewhat of a grasp of the basic grammar that is used in everyday conversations, like present tenses, past tenses, things like that. So definitely Grammar in Use. I would go through not the whole book, go through parts of the book that are helpful. Like you can kind of skip through the future tenses. And
Yes, sure.
yeah. And then after that, once you're familiar with the grammar rules, then you can even correct yourself. So, like, if you write really quickly without even thinking, you can go back and correct your own grammar. Or when you're speaking, you could immediately after you make a mistake realize, wait, that wasn't correct, and you correct your grammar
Um,
after that. Um,
that sounds much better than I thought.
yeah.
Yeah.
And your grammar, like, it doesn't have to be perfect unless you're trying to pass like an IELTS exam or a TOEFL exam, then that's an exception.
I'm I'm studying for one.
Ah, okay. Then in that case, you want to make your grammar as nice as possible.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm studying for CPE Cambridge test.
Okay, so yeah, most people that are just trying to learn English just to communicate, their grammar doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, it just has to be good enough to communicate clearly and people understand you really well. I mean, native speakers don't even have perfect grammar. But yeah, like IELTS and TOEFL, they are looking for grammar that is even like if you want to get the really high scores, even like beyond what the typical native speaker has, you know?
You have to close it to a native speaker. You have to achieve to reach a closest native speaker.
Yeah, I mean it's like in those tests it's kind of like a very academic, highly intelligent native speaker if you're like looking for like an 8 or a 7, you
Yes,
know. Yeah.
yes, I will do. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm gonna to do this test in the end of the year. That's why I'm intending to do the CPE test. It's a long test. What I think it's about 4 hours of test, and there is a speaking part, writing one, it's essay and listen part. And I'm trying to divide my days into this parts to practice. I have a friend of mine. He's helped me in the speaking part, and we are trying to do what the CP test tell us to do in the speaking part, about 2 3 minutes talking about an issue, and another time talking about some pictures that there is in the test, on the test, and a couple of things like that I'm trying to do to be better in English.
That's awesome. That's really great that you have someone to practice with. That's ideal, definitely. And for improving your grammar for this test, if you could somehow get a native speaker to correct your writing and correct your speaking while you're talking, that could be
All
really
right.
useful. You can find native speakers at like verbling.com, italki.com. Some teachers are like really pretty low priced. Like you could take a lesson for like $8 for the hour or $10 for the hour.
It
And
sounds pretty good. I haven't known about this website before.
Yeah. And pretty much what you need from that teacher is just for them to correct your English. So I would ask that teacher to, every time you make a mistake, to write your mistake that you made and then see if you can go back and correct your grammar and
All right.
together with the teacher. Or you could ask your teacher to just correct, write the correction of your grammar while you're talking. And it kind of like in the chat, it pops up so you can see, oh, I just made a mistake, and you correct yourself in that
Mm,
moment.
that's
You can see
that's
the correct
good.
word.
Sure, sure. That's it's really interesting because a couple of websites and apps that I see, the price is a little bigger than I can pay for, but this one it sounds for me really nice to practice with them, and they correct me as well in writing and speaking. I think it would good for me.
Yeah, and I mean that's how I learned. I learned two languages, Indonesian and Korean, and I took a lesson with a teacher every week. And what I would do is I would record the lesson. So I would go through to like message different teachers, and I would ask them, hey, I want to record the lesson. Could I meet you in Zoom during the lesson and we record it? And then I would save that video as a private video on YouTube. And then anywhere I went, I could always, like, while I'm driving or traveling, I could listen back to that lesson and like relive that lesson. So it's, I only spent like $10 for that hour, but I'm able to repeat that hour as many times as I want.
Clever.
Yeah.
That's clever.
Yeah.
Really clever.
It was a great way to review. And, not, I, in my experience, not all teachers were okay with being recorded like that. Maybe they're shy or whatever. But you just, find a teacher that is okay with it. And also, try different teachers out, because sometimes it takes meeting many different teachers before you find the perfect one for you, you know?
Mm.
Yeah.
Could you repeat the name of the website again, please?
Sure. There is verbling.com. It's verb, VERBLING.com.
All right. Revealing.
And and there's also italki. So italkly.com.
All
Italki.com.
right. I wrote them down.
And
Thank
there are
you,
hundreds.
Lavanya.
Definitely. There are hundreds and hundreds of teachers that you can find there.
Yeah, that's what I really want to help me to pass GCPE exam test.
Yeah. There you go. So that's another way to improve your grammar. Definitely getting feedback. Another way is to learn English in chunks. So
How can I do that?
learn whole phrases rather than just trying to remember individual words.
Mm,
Learn the whole phrase. Like, don't just
all
learn the
right.
word decide. Learn the word decided to do something. I mean, the phrase decided
The
to do something.
context.
Exactly. Have some context in there, because what happens is if you learn that way, you're learning grammar more naturally, so you don't even have to think about the rule to be able to speak properly. But then also it avoids the problems that you'll have later on. Like once students get to the advanced level, they make two types of mistakes, and that's prepositions and articles.
Mm, all
So
right.
if you learn English in chunks, then you'll know that it's decided to, not like decided for, or well, you'll know the difference between decided for or decided to when to use these different prepositions.
Yes, there are two types of mistakes. There's preposition is one, and another one is I forgot this one.
Article.
Articles. All right.
The, and no article.
Yes, thank you so much. And that's very interesting. I'm trying to learn some phrasal verbs because I saw it in Cambridge essays. There's a lot of kind of phrasal verbs and expressions that make you sound more natural than a simple word, simple sentence, basic
Yeah,
ones.
that's really important. Definitely learn phrasal verbs, learn idioms, because that's something that English courses and English books don't really teach you. But then when you go to the US, if you haven't learned them, you have no idea what native speakers are saying because they use idioms all the time when they're talking.
I've heard about a couple of them. There are a lot of expressions over there.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. That's one of the types of material that I'm developing is helping people learn idioms and these kinds of expressions through natural conversations. It's a
Right.
Yeah, definitely. It's a course that I'm working on right now, and it's great because I don't see this anywhere. I mean, I've seen a few idiom books, but they're not really great for learning idioms. And this is definitely an area where I just don't see that there are many options for learning. So, yeah, I'm
I'm
working on.
interesting. I'm
Yeah.
interested what do you work on? I would like to more information. I want to subscribe it.
Oh,
I want to be the
sure.
first.
Sure, definitely. So on my channel, on my YouTube channel, Speaking English Today with Amanda Lynn, it's Speaking English Today.
All right.
And there is a section that I have on lessons. So there's a playlist that I have on lessons, and I just started the lesson videos. So that's where I'm going to be putting the lessons. And I only have one up right now, but I have so many lessons that I need to make videos of, and I'll post them there.
All
And
right.
yeah, that's where it will start. So I'm going to be posting a lot of lessons there, like conversations. So far it's just me, but in the future I plan to get more native speakers on, and it will be like a conversation between me and native speakers.
Oh, that's very good. And I have a question. How long have you been English teacher or coaching?
That's a good question. I have been an English teacher for almost 10 years now.
10 years. Wow,
Yeah.
a lot of experience.
Yeah. I've taught students from countries all over the world. I taught in Indonesia for a while, and now I'm teaching online. And yeah, it's great. I mean, I love it. You know,
Wow.
there's always more to learn English, and there's always more to develop. You know.
Yes, yeah, sure. I have this friend of mine. He's an English teacher here in Brazil. He's a
Cool.
Brazilian like me, but he loves to teach English. It's his passion to
Oh,
teach
that's
others.
cool. If he's comfortable with it, I would love to have him on the show. That'd be awesome to meet him.
Yes, I'm gonna invite him. I'm gonna invite him.
Yeah, that would be
It's
great.
it's Raphael, his name.
Cool.
Uh,
Yeah, that'd be awesome. So,
yes, he will
did you,
like.
yeah, definitely. Did you have any other questions?
Yes. How to sound more native? How can I sound more native?
That is a really good question. That's definitely something I love to talk about. Um, Basically, to sound more native, more natural, you really got to focus on pronunciation.
All
So,
right.
yeah, definitely. And the best way to work on pronunciation is to copy and imitate native speakers. So while you're, be listening to different like TV shows and YouTube videos of native speakers, and just listen and repeat them, and just listen and copy and listen and copy. And
All
you
right.
would be surprised. Like, pronunciation is a skill that you can improve very quickly. You would be surprised how quickly you could, depending on what your first language is, of course, but you would be surprised how quickly you could improve your pronunciation and sound a lot more natural. But it takes time, it takes a
All
lot of
right.
time imitating, and it definitely helps if you have an ear for listening. Like, I've noticed that people that work in the music industry, they tend to improve their English pronunciation faster than other people, because I guess their ears are trained for sounds.
Yeah, that's I'm not getting. I think I don't know how to listen an English music and can understand them really well because they speak too fast for me. And when I listen a slow music, I can understand completely full what the singer is singing because it's slow. I can understand, but when it gets really fast, I cannot understand
Oh
a
yeah.
word while they're singing.
Sometimes me either. Sometimes it's just too fast. So yeah, I would say to improve,
Because
your pronunciation, just
oh my god.
listen to native speakers, listen to your favorite TV shows, and just copy, listen and copy. And that's what I did with Korean when I first started out. I was listening to Korean podcasts, and
Wow.
these were native Korean speakers, and they were teaching you how to say words. And even only a month into learning Korean, which, I mean, the pronunciation is really hard in that language, so they say.
Yes,
Um,
correct.
I was when I was talking to people, I'd only learned Korean for a month. They thought because my pronunciation was so natural that I was fluent, and I'm like, no, no.
Wow, it is. Wow, they really thought about that.
But I was obsessed
Wow,
with
awesome.
copying. That's how I did it. Was I was just obsessed with listening and copying and listening and copying. Also, I would definitely check out for certain sounds that you can't say. Like, there are weird sounds in English, like th or er sounds. Um, Definitely checking out YouTube videos of, you look on YouTube how to pronounce the th sound in English, and you'll find tons of videos. They're really great, and you can see what the inside of your mouth should look like when you're making those sounds. So that's key too. Knowing
That's
how
what I'm
to,
gonna try.
yeah, knowing how to pronounce that sound.
All right, I'm writing this down.
That's
To
another
be
thing I was
awesome.
obsessed with when I was learning Korean, was pronunciation. I really focused on how to make the sounds that we don't have in English.
Starting, especially this one is because we are not used to using our native language.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
definitely.
awesome, and
And
that's very good.
pronunciation should be something that you feel is fun and silly, because it will feel like weird at
Re-
first. Yeah. Like,
Really?
a lot of people are just, they're shy. Like, they know how, they get it, how to make the th sound, but it's so weird for them to do that. It's like they're
They
almost
don't.
shy to do that.
They don't do it.
So just like allow yourself to be silly, when when you're practicing pronunciation. It's going to be different. It's going to be weird, but it's right.
Yes, true. Yes, it's right. It makes sense. It's making more sense right now than other times.
Yeah.
It's really caught me. I think it's really caught me that kind of idea because I'm trying. I got stuck in English. I think I um I learned. I have learned a lot of things in English, but it's I achieve a certain level that I don't know how can I improve more than the level I'm right now. And this is kind of it let me crazy. How can I do it? But with this very precious tips that you gave me, I think I can find a path to go through English to another level.
Yeah, definitely. And, at the intermediate level, I talk about this a lot of people, once they get to the intermediate level, it's not so easy to see your progress anymore. When you're a beginner learning, you could see every step of the way how your English was improved.
Yes,
But once you get to the intermediate level, it's like you don't see your progress anymore.
yes. I realized that. I realized that. And a couple of years ago, because I've been studying English since I was 10 years.
Yeah, that's something that people, once they reach the intermediate level, that is definitely a challenge that they have, is seeing the progress, because English becomes much more wider. Like you're then able to learn anything in English. It's definitely an exciting time, but for a lot of people, it's a frustrating time because they're like, I study every day and I'm not seeing the progress.
Yeah,
So
it's
I would
true.
highly, yeah, definitely. I would highly recommend have specific goals for what key skills you want to improve. So if your specific goal is, I want to be able to use the present simple better when I'm speaking. I want to be able to pronounce this sound when I'm speaking. Any kind of specific goal. I want to be more
Sure.
fluent and not pause and hesitate as much as I do. Focus on that.
Yes.
Use strategies to improve those areas, and also record yourself. Like record yourself speaking, or keep, if you're practicing writing, keep your writing. And as you're practicing, a month later, go back to your recording from a month ago, and you can see that you've made progress. So,
It's the kind of thing that I haven't thought. I rather saw it in a couple of videos in YouTube, but I don't know what I didn't do in this because I think it's really important. It will it will really help me to improve my writing skills and other areas of English as well.
yeah, that's one way that I improved my pronunciation too, was I would listen to a Korean speaker and I would repeat the same exact thing, recording myself, and play them both back one after another. And I'm like, wait, this part didn't sound exactly like that. So I would try again,
Yeah,
And
that's good.
that's
That's the way you learn.
exactly, yeah.
Wow, that's very good, Amanda. It's very precious tips you're
Thank
giving me.
you. Another thing
Oh,
is, check out the tip of the day on my channel. Throughout the week, I make a tip of the day video, which is a video on how to use strategies to improve your English.
all right.
It's all about like what to do when you're studying by yourself, how to practice, how to improve different skills. So yeah, definitely check out the tip of the day. You'll see a lot of good ideas there.
Yes, that seems nice. I'm gonna check it out. Your YouTube videos.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Oh,
Did
I
you have
really
any other
like it.
questions?
Let me see. I think you answered one question, a lot of questions that I
That's
have.
good.
So I don't know. I think I ran out of questions here.
That's
I don't
great.
know. Let me see. I think no. I think that's all. That's all. That's all I need. I think because now it's the time of to put in practice
Yeah,
those precious tips that you
Definitely.
gave me. And I don't know how to say, but I'm thankful. I'm thankful for you for these tips. I don't know how to thank you in the way you deserve, because it's really nice of you to make this with not just me. I think you're doing with other people as well, and I think it's really encourages us and to to go to another level in English, to improve our speaking, write, and listen, and to get a better speakers in the languages we are not native yet, because we are learning as a second language, not as our own. But it's really helpful, your
I'm really
tips.
I'm really happy to give back to the community, and I'm also very thankful that you've taken your time to come here on my show, and I appreciate that so much. And the best way that you could thank me is to share my videos and let more people know about what I'm posting and the show, and just get it out there so that more people uh, can gain from this and learn from this.
Wow, that's very very nice of you. I really thank you for this.
My pleasure, definitely. Thank you so much for being on my show. I really appreciate it.
That's my pleasure as well to be
Well,
here in your show.
yeah, definitely. Well, I hope you have a great day, and I'm looking forward. If your friend wants to be on the show, that'd be awesome too. I'm looking forward to that.
Yes, I'm going to talk with him. He'll be happy to listen about that. He is
That would
really loves English
that would be awesome. I would love to meet him because we definitely have the same interests.
for sure. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great day as well, you and your family, and be safe because of this virus around the world is spreading around the world. It's really tough for everyone, but let's keep positive because soon we'll be get through this situation, this terrible situation.
Absolutely. Yes. I know it's a hard time for a lot of people right now, but just try to
Yes,
stay positive and, do what you can.
yes, thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
That's right. Thank you so much,
Thank you again.
Amanda. I hope to see you in the next time soon.
Yes,
Another video call, like we can chat a little bit more.
definitely. I would be very happy to have you back on the show.
Thank you so much for your invitation.
My pleasure. Oh, also another idea is that in the future, I was looking to have um, on my show a like English games. Like,
Hmm.
so I was thinking about inviting several
Yes.
people onto my show, and we can have a game where one idea was I'll have a picture of something and I slowly reveal it, and the first person to guess what this thing is in English
Hmm.
like wins a
So
point.
sounds interesting. I
Yeah.
don't know if you already saw about BBC Learning English. They have a YouTube channel. There are a couple of videos with grammar shows, top shows. I don't know this kind of stuff. I don't know,
BBC is
but
great.
it's really nice. I like it to see those videos.
Me too. Absolutely. I mean, we have so many great resources on YouTube, and BBC does an amazing job.
Yes, that's right. I'm with you. It's really nice when I see a couple of videos there, and a grammar in the funny way. It's
Yes.
really hard to know about that, but it's exists this kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, definitely. There are fun ways to learn grammar. It's just, they don't teach this in school too often.
Yes, it's always the same kind of rule, the same
Yes.
teaching you already seen for
Yeah.
many long years.
Yeah. I mean, you could learn a lot of grammar rules just watching videos. There are tons of videos on learning grammar.
It's true. That's right. That's what I'm picking those videos as well to improve my grammar.
There you go. Absolutely.
That's
Well,
very good.
Well, again, thank you so much for being on the show, and I hope to see you again sometime.
Yes, I hope to see you again sometime as well. And thank you so much for everything.
Thank you too. Have a good day.
Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.